What's up, YouTube people? So, I've got a decision to make. I'm either going to make some rebar tongs, which honestly I'm not real crazy about, thinking of doing that right now. Or I can weld those pieces of rebar onto those pieces of leaf spring that I cut down and make some knives. I cut them all slightly differently so that I don't have two knives that are exactly the same, because in my opinion I don't want to make knives that are the same as one another. I recognize that's how a lot of guys start to make money. They get their own design for this and they make a stencil, and then they do lots of knives in that same shape and style with just different trims. But I really don't want to do that. I kind of want to try to make each one individually unique, more than just the trim, like the color of the handle or this or that. But you know, if you want to make money, you probably are better off doing assembly line style. But I don't want to do that right now. What I want to do right now is I want to use these materials and I want to make one-of-a-kind knives. Here's the plan. I have no plan. I'm starting up this forge. I'm going to start pounding on these pieces and see if I can get them into some sort of pleasing to the eye knife shapes. I really have no particular order I plan to do them in. I just want to pound on some hot steel. So I guess I got a little bit of a plan. This is the second smallest one, or at least the second skinniest one. I've got the skinniest one in the forge right now, and I think the first plan is going to have to be straightening them up and then trying to, you know, reduce the thickness a bit to get more towards what I think close to the final width should be, or rather the final thickness. So time to get pounding. Okay, so I recently caught a little criticism from somebody in the comments with a good tip that you shouldn't really pound on steel when it's too cold, and I agree 100% with that. But the one thing I wanted you guys to be aware of, it looks very different on camera based on the different lighting conditions, and let me show you. Okay, so I just took that hot piece of steel out into the sunlight. Doesn't look, well, cloudy light out here. Doesn't look super red. Let me take it back in here, back to the back of the garage. Wow, that looks a whole lot different. Looks white hot in the middle now, doesn't it? So there's a big difference between how that piece of steel looks here. Look at it, it looks almost black now, right? Take it right back in here, and the darker part of the garage, look at that, all red and even still a little whitish hot in the middle. Big difference. So all I'm saying by that is that the lighting conditions and the camera's ability to focus affect how that looks an awful lot. So just bear in mind, it doesn't always look in the camera like it looks to my eye while I'm working on it. I'm thinking maybe a kitchen knife for this one. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Well, it looks like unfortunately most of this session is going to be about getting 2 of those 5 just around the right thickness that I want, because that's a lot of pounding. This is why people buy forge presses. And this isn't even Damascus, it's just leaf spring. But that leaf spring material is so thick, I have to thin it out before I can make what I want. This is also why people buy actual known knife steels that are already close to the thickness they want the final product to be. It definitely makes the process a whole lot easier. sun comes right out. Looks all black now, doesn't it? But it's not. I'm gonna give up on this one for now because this weld is breaking right here, and I haven't made any tongs yet, so I'm gonna save this one. I'll clean that up, re-weld that. I'll come back to this one later. Look at this, another one, man. I gotta make some tongs. Look at that. Starting to crack right there. And when that sunshine comes out, sure does make it hard to tell exactly how hot the steel is. Because in the sunshine, it looks very, very dull. But back there in the back of the shop, not near these big, wide open garage doors, it looks pretty red still, pretty bright. But while you're watching it here, it's hard to tell the difference. I have to take it back and forth to be kind of sure what color the steel is. Ting, that's cold, dull steel. Okay, so the forge is off. Yeah, glowing. After forge glow, baby. And I was too ambitious. I just kind of reduced the thickness of all of them by about half. I've got them in vermiculite annealing at this time. I think I'm spent for today. I don't think I want to do any more pounding today. If I had a power hammer, forge press, man, I'd be starting to shape some knives, but not today. So as you guys can see, lighting conditions make a big difference in what the steel looks like, but the temperature is the temperature, regardless of how it looks in the different lighting conditions or based on the camera's focus. Now with all that said, I just want to point out for you guys, the work that I'm doing, you're only seeing a fraction, a small fraction of the amount of handwork that's going into bringing leaf spring material into a size and shape that can be used to make an interesting knife. Now, I realize I didn't get very far in this video, and I just kind of wanted to let you guys know as we come upon the Thanksgiving season and Black Friday right around the corner, I just want you guys to know and be aware of the fact that there are a lot of liars out there. There's a lot of people out there telling you that they're hand forging things that they're not really hand forging. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to belittle anyone who uses the tools available to them. Hey, if you've got a forge press and a power hammer and a mill and all sorts of amazing tools, by all means use them and make beautiful things with your craftsmanship and your creativity. I think that's awesome. And someday I hope to be having better tools to make life a little bit easier. But in the meantime, what I'm doing is hand forging. If you have all those tools, you're not hand forging. Call it something else, you know, just call it custom knife making. Handcrafted maybe would still be appropriate since there's a lot more handwork being done than the factories do that are just like CNC machining and bringing things through an assembly line. But leave some room for us people that don't have all those tools that are doing all this work to have a label that justifiably describes all the work that we're putting into things. So there are two claims that really bother me the most on the internet when it comes to, you know, hand forged. There's the people that make blades out of Damascus billets that they've bought somewhere else that they try to pass off as Damascus, that they put their own time and energy into, which they really didn't. And then there's the people on like eBay and Amazon that are just straight up deceiving you and passing things off as handmade that are clearly not handmade. And if they were handmade, they're most certainly not handmade in America. Not at the prices they're asking for. They're handmade in some third world country where they're paying people squat. So with all that said, hey, you guys have a happy Thanksgiving. Hope you enjoyed a little bit more insight into what happens in kind of bladesmithing environment. And I look forward to sharing with you as I progress further on these leaf spring knives. All right, check you guys later.